Hey there, deep divers. Welcome back. You know how we do things around here? It's time for another deep dive into the world of crypto. And with the election just around the corner, well, let's just say things are getting pretty interesting.
To say the least.
Exactly. Now, I know Bitcoin and Ethereum are having a bit of a quiet week, not exactly making headlines, but that's not what we're here to talk about today.
Right. We're going deeper. We're going to unravel a bit of a mystery.
Ooh, a mystery.
Yeah.
I like it. Lay it on us.
It's Ripple, the company behind XRP. They're making some serious power moves in the political scene.
Okay, so Ripple's getting political. This I got to hear more about.
What's really fascinating is they're not just dipping their toes in the water, they're diving in head first.
Making a splash. I like the analogy. So how are they making this splash?
Exactly. Chris Larsen, Ripple's co-founder, he's emerging as a major donor to Kamala Harris's presidential campaign.
Hold on now. We're talking about Ripple, the crypto company. And Chris Larsen's donating to Kamala Harris for president.
You got it.
Wow.
Okay.
So just how much are we talking about here?
We're not talking about chump change here. Larson's donated almost $12 million.
$12 million. Now that's serious money.
And get this, most of it's in XRP, Ripple's own cryptocurrency.
So he's putting his money where his mouth is, literally.
It's a bold statement. To put it in perspective, that kind of donation puts Larsen in the same league as some of the biggest political donors out there.
So he's rubbing elbows with the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I really got to ask, what's Ripple's end game here? Why back Harris in such a big way?
It's a strategic move, no doubt about it.
Strategic how?
Well, Ripple, under the leadership of CEO Brad Garlinghouse, they're actually pretty optimistic about this upcoming election. They think it could be a turning point for crypto in the U.S.
So they're betting on a more favorable regulatory landscape.
Exactly. They're hoping for a new era for crypto in the U.S.
That's interesting, especially when you consider how the current administration has been perceived in the crypto world. Not exactly crypto-friendly, right?
That's putting it mildly. There have been some pretty harsh crackdowns from various regulatory bodies.
Like a clampdown. Some would even say it's driven a lot of innovation overseas, to places like Singapore and the UK.
You're not wrong. And this is where Larsen's support for Harris gets even more intriguing. He's been very vocal about his criticism of the current administration's approach to crypto. He even went so far as to call it a war on crypto.
A war on crypto. Wow, that's fighting talk.
He sees people like Senator Elizabeth Warren as major roadblocks to progress. He points to events like the FTX collapse as evidence that those past policies, they just haven't protected American consumers.
The FTX collapse. That was a devastating blow to the crypto world. A lot of people lost a lot of money.
Absolutely. And Larsen's argument is that stricter regulations, the kind he believes Harris would champion, could prevented the whole thing.
So he's not advocating for a completely hands-off approach. He wants a framework that balances innovation with consumer protection.
Exactly. And he sees Harris as the leader who can strike that balance. He views her as a true champion of innovation, someone who truly understands the potential of this whole digital asset revolution.
And her background in the tech-savvy Bay Area, that definitely gives her some credibility in that area.
Oh, absolutely.
It's interesting, though, because Larsen's also been pretty critical of what he sees as anti-business policies. You know, the ones that he thinks have stifled growth and innovation here in the U.S.
Right. He's been very vocal about that.
He seems to believe that Harris could usher in a whole new era where American companies can thrive on a global scale, particularly in this emerging Internet of Value that crypto represents.
The Internet of Value, it might sound like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's basically this idea that digital assets, they could revolutionize how we think about and interact with value.
Okay, so break it down for me. What does that even mean in practical terms?
Think of it this way. Just like the internet revolutionized how we communicate and share information, the Internet of Value could completely transform how we buy and sell, invest, even how we think about money itself.
Whoa! Okay. That's a pretty big concept to wrap your head around.
It is. It's a big idea, but it's one that's gaining a lot of traction.
And that's why this election is so crucial. We're at this crossroads where decisions made in the next few years could determine whether the U.S. leads the way in this new digital era or falls behind.
Exactly. We can either be at the forefront of this revolution or we can get left in the dust.
So you're saying this isn't just about some abstract tech stuff happening in Silicon Valley. This has the potential to impact everyone's lives in a very real, tangible way.
Oh, absolutely. This is about the future of our economy, our financial system, our place in the world.
Okay, so the stakes are high. Got it. So what happens next? What's Ripple's next move in this high-stakes game?
Well, it's not just about the presidency. They're playing the long game, strategically targeting key congressional races as well. They've even set up their own super PAC called Fair Shake to support candidates who align with their vision.
Super PACs. Now, we're talking serious political muscle. Those things are known for throwing around some serious cash.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing Ripple's not holding back.
Oh, you better believe they're not. They're going all in. A prime example, the Senate banking share race in Ohio. They're backing Bernie Moreno against the incumbent Sherrod Brown.
Okay, so why Moreno? Why is he Ripple's chosen one?
They view Brown as an obstacle to crypto innovation, while Moreno represents a more progressive, crypto-friendly approach. They're putting their weight behind someone who they believe will champion their cause.
So this race in Ohio, it's a kind of a test case, a bellwether for how crypto will be treated in Congress moving forward.
Exactly. Depending on who wins, we could see a shift towards more favorable regulations or more restrictive ones. And that could have a direct impact on you, especially if you're thinking about investing in crypto.
Okay, so the message is clear. Pay attention to this election, folks. It could determine whether the U.S. becomes a haven for crypto innovation or a regulatory minefield.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so we've talked about Ripple's political maneuvering and this election that could reshape the entire crypto landscape. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. What does all this mean for the average person who's maybe just starting to learn about crypto?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The key takeaway here is that the regulatory landscape for crypto is in flux, like a river constantly changing. The rules of the game are being written as we speak. And this election could have a major impact on how crypto is bought, sold, traded, even taxed in the future.
So it's not just about whether Bitcoin goes up or down. It's about the very foundation on which the whole crypto world operates.
Exactly. You got it. If you're thinking about dipping your toes into those crypto waters, now is the time to start paying close attention to these political developments. The outcome of this election, it could directly impact your potential returns and the security of your investments.
So do your homework, stay informed, and maybe even consider reaching out to your elected officials. Let them know where you stand on these issues, because at the end of the day, your voice matters.
Absolutely. In a democracy, your voice has power. And in a space like crypto that's evolving so rapidly, your voice could help shape the future of finance itself.
That's a powerful thought. So let's wrap things up here. Leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question. Is Ripple making the right move by going all in on political influence? And what does this gamble mean for the future of your money?
It's a high-stakes game, no question about it. But it highlights just how important crypto is becoming in the global economy. We're seeing a battle for control over its future, and the outcome is far from certain.
And that, my friends, is where we'll leave you today. Keep exploring, keep learning, and stay tuned, because we'll be back soon to dive deep into another corner of this fascinating world where technology, finance, and politics all collide.
Until next time, happy diving. And that's why this election is so crucial. We're at a crossroads. The decisions made in the next few years could determine whether the U.S. leads the way in this new digital era or gets left behind.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I was reading an article the other day about how the U.S. was really dominant in the early days of the internet.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We were the pioneers.
Exactly. We were the ones setting the standards and shaping the technology.
Yeah.
And now it seems like we're at risk of losing that edge.
It's a real concern. And it all comes back to this idea of the internet of value, you know? If digital assets really do represent the future of finance, then the U.S. needs to be at the forefront of that movement.
Okay, so we need to reclaim our position as the leaders in this space.
Exactly.
But it's not just about the presidency, right?
Right. You gotta, Ripple's playing the long game here. They're strategically targeting key congressional races as well.
So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. They've even set up their own super PAC called Fair Shake.
Fair shake. What's that all about?
It's their way of supporting candidates who align with their vision for crypto.
So they're putting their money where their mouth is. Literally.
You could say that.
And super PACs, those are no joke. They can throw around some serious cash in the political arena.
Oh, yeah. They're major players.
And I'm guessing Ripple's not holding back.
Not at all. They're going all in. A prime example, the Senate banking chair race in Ohio.
Ohio. Okay. What's happening there?
They're backing Bernie Moreno against the incumbent Sherrod Brown.
Bernie Moreno.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard that name. So why him?
They view Brown as an obstacle to crypto innovation.
Too much of a traditionalist.
You could say that while Moreno represents a more progressive, crypto-friendly approach.
So they're looking for someone who's more forward-thinking, more open to the potential of crypto.
Exactly.
So this race in Ohio, It could be a real turning point for crypto policy in the U.S.,
It could be a bellwether for how these issues are addressed in Congress moving forward.
a sign of things to come.
Exactly. Depending on the outcome, we might see a shift towards more favorable regulations or more restrictive ones.
So the stakes are high.
Very high. And that's why it's so important for people to pay attention to this election, especially if they're interested in crypto.
Because this isn't just some abstract political debate.
Yeah.
This could have a direct impact on their wallets. Now, this whole thing with Ripple and the SEC has been a long and complicated battle.
It has been. It's been dragging on for years.
And with the election coming up, you might think they'd be throwing their support behind someone like Donald Trump.
Because of his stance on the SEC.
Exactly. He's been openly critical of them.
Right. But it seems like Larsen has his sights set on Harris.
That's interesting. Given all the trouble they've had with the SEC, you'd think they'd be backing a candidate who's more likely to shake things up at the agency.
It seems counterintuitive, but maybe they're thinking long-term. Maybe they believe that a more stable regulatory environment under Harris would ultimately be more beneficial for the industry.
So maybe it's not just about short-term gains. They're playing the long game.
That could be it. It's hard to say for sure.
Well, whatever their reasoning, it's clear that Ripple's not afraid to make bold moves in the political arena.
Oh, no. They're definitely not shying away from the fight. They see this election as a crucial moment for the future of crypto, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure their voices are heard.
It's almost like they're saying, hey, we're here, we're not going away, and we're going to fight for our place at the table.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message. It shows that the crypto industry is maturing. It's becoming a force to be reckoned with.
It's not just a bunch of techies in their basements anymore.
Not at all. They're stepping out into the light and engaging with the political process.
And that's a good thing, right?
I think so. It brings legitimacy to the industry.
Makes it more mainstream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what we need if we want to see widespread adoption of crypto.
So it's not just about making a quick buck. It's about building a sustainable future for crypto.
Right. It's about creating a world where digital assets are a part of everyday life.
And that's a vision worth fighting for.
Absolutely. It really is.
Yeah.
And you know what else is interesting?
What's that?
Ripple's been in this legal battle with the SEC for a while now, right?
Oh, yeah. That's been dragging on forever.
Right. And you'd think that with the election coming up, they'd be all over someone like Donald Trump.
Because of his whole anti-SEC stance.
Exactly. He's been pretty vocal about it.
True. But it seems like Larsen's not really interested in that. He's got his eyes on Harris.
Yeah, it's a bit of a head-scratcher, isn't it? I mean, considering the SEC's been a thorn in Ripple's side, you'd think they'd be backing someone who might shake things up a bit at the agency.
Right. Someone who might be a little more crypto-friendly. Let's be honest.
Exactly. But who knows? Maybe they're thinking long-term. Maybe they believe that a more stable regulatory environment under Harris would ultimately be better for the industry as a whole.
So they're playing the long game.
It's possible. It's hard to say for sure what their exact strategy is. But one thing's for sure.
What's that?
Ripple's not afraid to make some bold moves in the political arena.
No, they're definitely not. They're not sitting on the sidelines. That's for sure.
They see this election as a pivotal moment for the future of crypto. And they're willing to put their money where their mouth is to make sure their voices are heard.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're here, we're a force to be reckoned with, and we're not going away.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message.
Right.
It shows that the crypto industry is growing up. It's maturing. It's becoming a real player on the global stage.
And they're not afraid to flex their political muscles.
Not at all. And you know what? I think that's a good thing.
Really? Why is that?
It brings legitimacy to the industry. It shows that they're serious about shaping the future of finance.
They're not just some fringe group of techies anymore.
Exactly. They're stepping out of the shadows and into the spotlight.
And into the political arena.
That's right. And that's ultimately what needs to happen if we want to see wider adoption of crypto.
So it's not just about making a quick buck. It's about building a sustainable future for the whole industry.
Exactly. It's about creating a world where digital assets are a normal part of everyday life.
A world where crypto is mainstream.
Precisely. And that's a vision worth fighting for.
Couldn't agree more. Well, folks, there you have it. Ripple's making some big moves in the political world, and this upcoming election could have a huge impact on the future of crypto.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating time to be following this space. That's for sure.
It really is. So stay informed, do your research, and most importantly, make your voice heard. Because the future of finance is being written right now, and you have a say in how that story unfolds.
Well said. Couldn't have put it better myself.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up for today. But don't worry, We'll be back soon to dive into another corner of this ever-evolving world of crypto.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep on diving.
And as always, happy diving, everyone.